Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this dress here. Now it's sized for 0 to 6 months, and that is the only size that I have available at the moment. So 0 to 6 months is what this will fit. And I also want to encourage you to, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, where there's lots of other baby dresses and there's hundreds of tutorials on there. So please don't forget to do that. Maybe give this video a like and a share if you can. So let's go ahead and get started on it. For this project, I used Caron Simply Soft. It is a medium weight, 100% acrylic yarn. You do not have to use this brand. Any other 4-ply yarn will work. You just want to make sure that it's a little softer for baby. The color I used is grape, and there are, let's see, 315 yards per skein, and this is what I have left of my second skein. So you're probably going to need about 450, 500 yards probably, that's what I'd say, of the main color. And then I also used the same brand, not a whole lot, 50 yards maybe, probably, of regular white. And then you're going to need some hook and eye closures, that is to sew up the back, and some matching thread and needle to sew these on. And you're going to need some ribbon. This is optional if you choose. The size of ribbon I used is 3/8 inch, and it's the two-toned. If you feel that it's too thick, you can always use a smaller ribbon if you want. And then also a ribbon rose of your choice if you want to do that. Also, that's optional. And to some thread and needle to sew that on too. And then I used a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. Remember, this is just the one size that I have, 0 to 6 months. And don't forget to check out below in the description box to find the link to where you can get the written pattern. Okay, you want to start off with a chain of 50. And once you get your chain of 50 made, what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. And now remember, we don't count this one that's on a hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and double crochet into that 4th stitch. Just like that. And now I'm going to continue putting 1 double crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain. So just like that. 1 double crochet every stitch until you get to the end of the chain. Okay, once you make it all the way to the end of row 1, you should have a total of 48 double crochets, and that is counting this chain here on the very end. That counts as a double crochet. So counting that one, you should have a total of 48 now. So for round 2, or row 2, I'm sorry, we're going to chain 3 and we're going to turn our work. Now that chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet. So we're going to do a double crochet into the next stitch. So not this hole right here, but this next one. We're going to yarn over, not this one, the next one. And that's where we're going to put our first double crochet. Like that. So counting that chain 3, we have 2 double crochets in a row. So the next stitch, we're going to put 2 double crochets in the same stitch, and that's going to be our increase stitch. And now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of repeat that. We're going to put 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 here and 1 here. So 1 in the next, and then 1 in the next, and then the next stitch will be our increase stitch. We're going to put 2 double crochets in the same stitch. Again, we're going to repeat that. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 here and 1 here. one double, and then one double in the next. And now the next stitch will be our increase stitch. It's going to get 2 doubles in the same stitch. And this is our pattern that we're going to repeat all the way to the end of the row. One double into the next 2 stitches, so 1, 1, and then 2 doubles into the next. One double in the next 2, 1, 1, and 2 doubles in the next. And you want to repeat that all the way to the end of the row. Okay, I'm coming to the end of row 2, and I did 1 double crochet here and 1 double crochet here. Now my last stitch is going to be this little chain here on the end, and you want to make sure you get that one, and it's going to be 2 double crochets into the top of this little chain here. A lot of people tend to miss that because it kind of just blends in, and it kind of don't even look like a stitch, but you got to make sure you pull that out, and your last, it'll be right in the top of it, your last stitch will be 2 double crochets into the top of that little chain there. Now at the end of row 2, you should have a total of 64 double crochets now. Now we're going to start round 3 by chaining 3 and turning our work. Now that chain 3 is going to count as a double crochet. So we're going to go ahead and start by putting 1 double crochet in this stitch here. Not this very first stitch here, but this one. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So now if we look and we see what we have that chain 3 counts as a double, so we have 3 double crochets in a row now. Now the next stitch is going to be our increase stitch. It's going to get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And this is what we're going to kind of repeat this entire row 3. So we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So there's 1 there, 1 in the next, and 1 in the next. And then the next stitch will be our increase. It's going to get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Again, 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, and the next one is 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So we're going to repeat this all the way to the end of row 3. 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochets into the next. And repeat that, 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and 2 double crochets into the next, all the way until you get to the end of the row. Okay, I'm coming to the end of row 3. Now I just did my 3 double crochets in a row. Now my last stitch is going to be 2 double crochets right here into the top of this chain 3. So we're going to put 2 double crochets into that one. And now you should have a total of 80 double crochets at the end of row 3. What I'm going to do now is connect my work. So I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to bring over this side, put them together like this, and I'm going to slip stitch into this chain 3 right here, into the top of it. Now it's connected like that, and then I'm going to start row 4 by chaining 3 and turning my work. So now it's connected there. So our work's going to be connected from now on. So go ahead and turn your work. Now what I want to do is 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now if you look, counting that chain 3 we just did, we have 4 double crochets in a row. So now the next stitch is going to be 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And that's kind of the pattern for row 4. 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch. One double crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 double crochets into the next. Now we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around until we get back over here to our starting point. 1 double crochet in the next 4, and then 2 double crochets into the next, all the way around until you get back over here to the beginning. Okay, I've come to the end of row 4, and I have 1 stitch left. You can see it right here. It looks like maybe you have 2, but you really only have 1, because this chain 3 is attached to this stitch right here. So you should be putting 2 double crochets in that last stitch, and you should have a total of 96 stitches now at the end of row 4. So we're going to end by slip stitching into our beginning chain 3, and then we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the armholes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 14 stitches, not counting this one right here. So 14, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's 14. So now counting this chain 3, we'll have 15 there. So now we're going to do a chain of 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to skip the next 19 stitches. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then the next one we're going to double crochet. So skip 19, and the next one with that chain 2 still on your hook, yarn over and go into the next one and double crochet like that. Now counting this double crochet here, we're going to double crochet into the next 28 stitches. So this would be our first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I did my 1 double in those 28 stitches, and now again I'm going to do a chain of 2, and I'm going to skip 19 stitches again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And in the next one I skipped 19, and in the next one I'm going to double crochet. And now I'm going to put 1 double crochet in the remaining stitches, and there should be 15 counting this one right here. So this would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put 1 double crochet into my last 15 stitches, and I'm right back here at the beginning. So I'm going to end with a slip stitch into my beginning chain 3. Now you should have a total of 58 stitches, and that is not counting these stitches here that we skipped, or the chain 2. So we had the we did the 14 in the beginning plus that chain 3, which totaled 15, and then we skipped, and then we did 28, and then we skipped, and then we did another 15, so that'd be the 58 stitches total. And that is round 5. So for round 6, we're going to chain 3, turn our work, and now what I'm going to do is just go around and put 1 double crochet in every stitch. So I'm going to start right here and put 1 double in every stitch all the way around. And when I get to this chain 2 space up here, I'll show you what we're going to do. On this last stitch here. And now when you're at your chain 2 space, you want to just do 2 double crochets through the whole space. So I'm just going to go right through the whole space. And there's 1 double, and then 2 doubles. And now I'm going to continue with this first stitch here. Continue working 1 double crochet in every stitch until I get to my next chain 2 space. And when I get to my next chain 2 space, I'll just put 2 double crochets through it, just like we just did. And I'll continue putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until we get back to the beginning. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 6 here. And I'm going to end with a slip stitch into my beginning chain 3 here. And you should have a total of 62 stitches now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start the main portion of our dress. So we're going to start off with a chain 1 and a turn of our work. Now that's the last time that we're going to turn our work. Now we're just going to be working around and around without turning our work anymore. So what we're going to do is, working in the same stitch that we just slip stitched into right here, we're going to work a V stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and go into that stitch, and it's kind of a tight fit. But it's right here, this one right there. And we're going to work a double. And we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go right back into it and do another double crochet. So that is how we're going to work our V stitches. Okay, now we're going to work all these stitches really close together, this first row here of the dress part. By doing that, it's going to make it more gathered looking, more roughly looking. So in the next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet cluster. So working in the very next stitch, we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, drop a loop, and you want to do that 4 times total. So that was 1, yarn over, go into the loop, 2, yarn over, go into the space, 3, and 1 more time, 4. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 9 loops and chain 1. Now in the next stitch, we're going to do the V stitch again. So we're not skipping any stitches in between. The next stitch is going to be a V stitch. So we're going to do a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet. Now the next stitch, we're going to do our little cluster here. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, drop a loop, and you want to do that 4 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 9, and chain 1. Now the next one will be a V stitch. So go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, a chain of 2, and another double crochet. Now the next stitch will be another cluster. So we're going to yarn over and go into the very next stitch, draw up a loop 4 times total, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 9, and chain 1. So we're going to repeat this all the way around, and it's going to start to look really crunched up, and that's fine because that's what you want. The more rows you do, the more it'll start to fan out and look like a ruffly dress. So don't get discouraged if it starts to really clump up on you on this row. So the next one is going to be the V-stitch. So we're going to go right into it. Double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. And then the next one will be the cluster. So we're going to yarn over, go in, drop a loop 4 times total. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, go through all 9 loops, and chain 1. So I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to the beginning. So my next one will be a V-stitch, double, chain 2, and a double, and then the cluster, V-stitch, cluster, all the way around till you get back to the beginning. Okay, once you make it to the end of round 7, you should have ended in the cluster stitch. You want to make sure you chain 1 after that, and what we're going to do is end round 7 by slip stitching into your first double crochet here of this V-stitch. And you still should have 62 stitches at the end of round 7, and we should always have 62 stitches from here on out for the dress part, for the skirt part of the dress. So it's to be 31 clusters and 31 V stitches. So for round, that was round 7. Round 8, what we're going to do is slip stitch over to our first V stitch. Now round 8 and 9 are the repeat rows for the entire skirt. So we're on round 8 right now. So what we're going to do is start it by slip stitching over into our first V-stitch. So slip stitch 1 time to that chain 2 space of that first V-stitch. And we're going to chain 1. Now what we're going to do is a cluster into this chain space. So we're going to yarn over and just go right through the chain space, draw up a loop 4 times total just like before. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and you should have 9 loops on your hook. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yarn over and go through all 9 and chain 1. Now what we're going to do is our V-stitch, and we're going to do it in the chain 1 space on top of this cluster. So right there is where we're going to put our V-stitch. So we're going to yarn over and go right in on top of that cluster and do a double crochet, a chain of 2, and right in the same spot another double crochet. And now we're at right here at this V-stitch. We're going to do a cluster right here into that V-stitch space. So we're going to yarn over, go right into the space, and drop a loop 4 times total. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 9, and chain 1. Again, we're going to put a V-stitch into this chain 1 space right here on top of the next cluster. So we're going to yarn over, go right into that chain 1 space, and do a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet. So it's kind of like what we just did before, but we're doing it opposite what we did before. So next what we're going to do is go back into this chain space right here and do our cluster. So yarn over and go through the space and drop a loop 4 times total. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 loops. Go through all 4, chain 1, and now we're going to V-stitch right here into the top of this cluster. So go right into that space, that chain 1 there, do a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet. So we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 8, and you still should have your 62 stitches, 31 of your clusters and 31 of your V's. And now we're going to end by slip stitching into the top of this first puff stitch. So right there, the chain 1 of the puff, that's where we're going to slip stitch into. So I ended in the V, and now I'm going to slip stitch into this puff. Now the only difference, we're going to start round 9, in between round 9 and round 8 is just the way you start. Before we started with a puff on round 8, now round 9 we're going to start with a V. So we're going to start by chaining 1 and going right back into that same stitch that we slip stitch into and doing a V stitch. So we're going to do a double crochet, chain of 2, and another double crochet. Other than that, it's just a repeat of what we did on round 8. So now right here, we're going to do a puff in this V-stitch space. And then we're going to do a V-stitch right here in the chain 1 of that puff. And then a puff or cluster, I don't even know what I've been calling it, puff or cluster right here in this chain space. Nope, I messed that one all up. And then we'll V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next cluster. So we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Okay, when you get to the end of round 9, all you want to do is end with a slip stitch into your first double crochet. So that's all it is. It's just a repeat of rows 8, or rounds 8 and 9, and they're pretty much the same except for the beginning and the end. But you want to repeat rounds 8 and 9 until you get a total. I've already went ahead and did it. 23 rows, and that's starting from the very first row. So starting from this row all the way down, you want to have 23. And you can do it longer if you wish. That's completely up to you. It's not going to change the look of the pattern, except for it's just going to make your dress look a little longer. But now what we're going to do is start the edging. But I'm going to keep my purple on the hook for the first round of the edging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here where I slip stitched, and I'm going to work single crochet all around. So I'm going to chain 1. Now I'm going to go right back into that same stitch and single crochet, and now I'm going to put 2 single crochets right here where this chain 2 space is. So just go right through it and put 2 single crochets, and then I'm going to put 1 right here where this double crochet is. And then I'm going to put 1 right here on top of this puff stitch where we are working the V stitches before. Not here, but right here on top. And that's the kind of the repeat I'm going to do. So I'm going to put 1 single crochet into the next double, 2 single crochets into this chain 2 space of the V. So just go right through and work 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet into the next double, and then 1 single crochet on top of this puff. We're not doing this stitch here. This isn't anything. We're going right here onto the top and going right into it and putting a single crochet. So just like that. And we're going to do this all the way around. So again, 1 single into the next double, 2 singles into the next chain 2 space, 1 single into the next double, and then 1 right over here on top of this puff. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around until I get back here to the beginning. Okay, I'm coming to the end of round 24, our single crochet round, and you should have 155 single crochets now. That does not count this chain 1 here. So 155, not counting that chain 1. Now what we want to do is slip stitch into our first single crochet, and I'm going to tie this off. And I am going to start a new color. So clip that off. Now I'm going to bring in some white now. And I'm going to start it in the same spot that I just left off. So right there, I'm going to go ahead and start my yarn. Pull it through. I'm going to try to hide these tails as I go. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to repeat that last row. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I'm going to go right back into that same stitch that I started into and single crochet. And now I'm going to work around putting 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get back to the beginning. And I'm doing this with my white edging color. Now this is round 25, and when you get back around to the end of round 25, you still should have 155 single crochet when you make it back around. So I'm going to continue around putting my 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get back to my starting point. Okay, once you make it back around with your single crochet and you have 155 stitches, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into our first single crochet. Now we're going to work on the edging, the main part of the edging, or the decorative part, I guess. So what we're going to do is chain 1 and go right back into that same stitch and do a double crochet. Okay, now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to work down the post of this double crochet, and we're going to work 5 double crochets. Now we're going to work it in between this chain 1 and the double. So you just yarn over, and you see this chain 1 here that we'd made? Go right in between that and the double. That way you're only going around the double and not that chain 1. And do 5 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. Okay, now we're going to skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next one we're going to do a regular double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one, double crochet. And then we're going to do a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, we're going to work down the post of this double crochet, and we're going to work 5 more double crochets around the post. So yarn over and just go right around the post and work 5 doubles. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just like that. So that's what it's going to kind of look like around the edging. So again, we're going to skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next one we're just going to do a regular double crochet, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work 5 double crochets around this post. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's pretty easy. I think it's pretty easy edging, and it looks really neat. So again, we're going to skip our 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet into the next one. Work a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and 5 double crochets down this post. So there's 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, and 5. And that's where we're going to continue all the way around the entire bottom of the dress. Skip 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double crochet into the next. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then work 5 doubles down this post. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's a lot easier than it looks, isn't it? So I'm just going to continue working this pattern until I get back over here to the beginning. Okay, when you make it all the way around back to the beginning, you should have 4 stitches left to skip. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you want to slip stitch into your very first double crochet here, and it's probably going to be pretty hard to see because it's right here in between that chain. Here's the chain 1 and the double crochet that we went down. So if you just want to double, or if you just want to slip stitch into this spot right here, it's not going to be a big deal if you can't find exactly. That's what I'm going to do. Slip stitch right into that spot, and I'm going to clip this off. And then I will hide that tail. And you should have 31 now of these, I don't know what you want to call them, shell things at the bottom of your dress. So let's take a look at it now. See what we got here. We got, this is what it's starting to look like now. This is what it's starting to look like now. Okay, so now we got to work on the sleeves and the collar. Okay, I'm going to start right here in this chain here. It's going to be my first stitch. So you're going to start your yarn, and I'm going to chain 1. Now that chain 1 is going to kind of act like a slip stitch, so I'm not going to put anything else into that stitch. Now the next stitch, I'm going to put 2 triple crochets in. So I'm going to yarn over twice, and I'm going to put 2 triple crochets into that next stitch. So there's 1, and there's 2. Now the next one, I'm going to put 1 triple crochet in. The next one will be 2 triple crochets into the same stitch there. And now the next one will be 1 triple crochet. Now we want to repeat this 2 triple crochet, 1 triple crochet over 19 stitches. So we've done 1, We don't count this first chain one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We've worked it over 4 stitches. So the next one will be 5. And since this was 1 triple crochet, it'll be 2 triple crochets. And the 6th one is 1 triple crochet. And the next one will be the 7th stitch, and we're going to put 2 triple crochets into that stitch. And the 8th stitch will be 1 triple crochet. And then the 9th stitch will be 2 triple crochets. I'm just going to keep going with this until I get to the end. I hope I don't bore you. That way no one gets confused. Now, the 10th stitch is going to be 1 triple crochet. Remember, we're working over 19. The 11th stitch will be 2 triple crochets. The 12th stitch, 1 triple crochet. 13th stitch, 2 triple crochets. Fourteenth stitch, 1 triple crochet. 15th stitch, 2 triple crochets. 16th stitch, 1 triple crochet. 17th stitch, 2 triple crochets. 18th stitch, 1 triple crochet. And now the 19th stitch is going to get 2 triple crochets in it. Now what we want to do is put 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So 1 double crochet into the next, and then 1 double crochet into the next, and then I'm going to put 4 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. So single, 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 single. So I'm going to single crochet into the next 4. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 double in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 double, and then 1 double in the next. And now we're going to start our triple crochet over the next 19 stitches. So the first one is going to get 2 triple crochets in the same stitch. And the next one will be 1 triple crochet. And the third one will be 2 triple crochets. And the fourth one, 1 triple. And the fifth one is 2 triples. Now we're going to repeat this 2 triple, 1 triple, 2 triple, 1 triple until we get over here to the very last stitch. Okay, when you come to the end and you've worked that triple crochet in one and 2 triple crochets in the next over 19 stitches, you should have 1 stitch that remains here. And sometimes it's kind of tight because it was our starting stitch where the knot is. You might have to loosen it up a bit. But you should have ended there with 2 triple crochets into the second to the last stitch, and in the last stitch we're going to slip stitch. And like I said, it's a little tight. I loosened mine up a bit already. We'll go ahead and slip stitch like that and pull that off, and then clip your yarn Now let's look and see what we got now for the collar. Should flip right over. Just like that. Pretty cute so far. Now we gotta work a little bit on the sleeves. Okay. Now both sleeves are worked the exact same way. So I went ahead and did one. I'm gonna show you what it looks like there. So it's got the same edging as the bottom does. So it matches up. So you just work it both the same. And it's pretty easy, so we'll just go ahead and get started. The hardest part is probably finding your stitches here in the beginning. So get your work faced up here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm starting with my purple. Now when you look at your sleeve hole here, you see this double crochet right here on the side. Go right kind of in between that. And that's where we're going to start our first stitch. So we're going to chain one. Now we're going to go right back in to that same spot and double crochet. Oops. I half doubled. Go right back into it and double. Okay. Now when we open it up and look here again, we want to go into this next spot right here, double, and if you feel like it'd be more secure, you can go down here and grab this one. So we'll double there. Now we're going to double in between these next two double crochets. See these right here, this one and this one? Double right in between them. And then we're going to go to the next two double crochets and double crochet right in between them. So you can slide it over. So double in between these two. Just go right through them and double crochet. Okay. The next spot, we're going to double right in between these two. Let me hold it up so you can see it. Right here in this hole here, right in between that double crochet. Go right through it and double. And now we're going to work our way around. We're going to double crochet right here into this hole right here. And then we're going to double crochet into the side of this double crochet, just like we did before. So kind of just wiggle your hook in there. Double crochet in the side of it. There we go. Now we're going to work around, working one double crochet in the remaining stitches. So we'll go into this one right here, and every stitch around, you should be able to see the stitches now until you get back to the beginning. You make it back around to the beginning. You should have a total of 28 stitches now when you did your last stitch. So here is where we started. We did the chain one and the double crochet. We're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first double crochet. And remember, you should have 28 stitches now. Now what we're going to do is chain one, go right back into the same stitch and double crochet. And we're going to work one double crochet in every stitch around. Oops, sorry about moving my camera there. So I'm going to continue working around two of the sleeves, one double in every stitch. I'll just continue to the end here because I'm almost there. Well, I guess I'm halfway there, but I'll just keep going. Okay. Now when you make it to the end of round 2 of the sleeves, you still should have 28 stitches. And all I'm going to do is slip stitch into my first double crochet, slip stitch into that first double to end round 2 of the sleeve, and then all I'm going to do is repeat that round one more time. So I'll chain 1, go right back in, double crochet in the same stitch, and 1 double crochet in every stitch around back to the beginning. And when I get to the end of round 3 of the sleeves, I still should have my 28 double crochets. I've made it around to the beginning, and that is my 3rd row of the sleeves. I have 28 stitches. Go ahead and end with the slip stitch into your first double crochet. Now I'm going to clip this off. Now if you want your sleeves to be a little longer, you can continue with more rows, but I just did the 3 rows. But now I'm going to start with my white, and I'm going to start right there in that same stitch that I just ended in. And I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to go right back into the same stitch and single crochet. Now I'm going to work around putting 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around until I get back to the beginning. And I'm going to hide those tails as I go so I don't have to sew them in. So 1 single crochet now, this will be round 4 of the sleeves, all the way around until you get back to the beginning. And when you get back to the beginning, you should still have 28 stitches. Okay, I've made it back around. I got my 28 single crochets. I'm going to slip stitch into the first one, and now I'm going to do those little side clusters like we did at the bottom. So I'm going to start off by chaining 1 and going right back into that same stitch and doing a double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 3. Now remember, this first one that we do, we have to go in between we have to go around the double, not around this chain 1. So we go right in between the chain 1 and the double, and we're going to work 5 double crochets around the post. And there's 5. Now instead of skipping 4 like we did below on the bottom edging, we're only going to skip 3 this time. So 1, 2, 3, and then the next one we're going to put a double crochet and chain 3 and work our 5 double crochets around the post. Like that. And we'll skip 3 again, skip, 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 double crochet into the next, chain 3 and work 5 double crochets around the post. So it's the same as we did on the bottom. The only difference is we're skipping 3 in between these little side shells this time. So I'm going to continue working this pattern until I get back around to the beginning. Okay, when you make it to the end, you should have 3 stitches left to skip, and then remember we need to slip stitch into the top of the double. And since it's going to be kind of hard to find, I just slip stitch right through this hole here. No one's going to be able to tell that it's not the double. Go ahead and tie that off. Clip your yarn. Now remember, both sleeves are done the same, so I'm going to go ahead and hide all my tails because I have my other sleeve done. So I'm going to go hide all these tails real quick. A couple more things before I'm finished. Now I'm going to take my yarn needle and a little bit of white, and I'm going to just put a couple little stitches in the collar so it doesn't flip up while the child's wearing it. So just get your white yarn and just wherever, you know, just to to kind of make it stay down a little bit more, I'm going to go through. I'll probably go do it down here at the base of the stitch. And I'm going to go through. Let me come at it from the behind. Like that. And then back around to the other stitch. I'm just going to put a couple of these. It's not going to be noticeable, and then it'll hold it down. And then if I don't want the white to show from the other side, just go halfway like through the stitch like that, and then go back up again and grab another little part of the bottom of the stitch, like right here, and go over a little bit just to catch it, just to hold it there. And that'll be enough for that one. And then I'm going to hide that tail by just kind of weaving it in the purple, but in between it so the white doesn't show. So I'm kind of going halfway through the stitches, if that makes any sense. I'm not going all the way through, that way the white won't show through to the other side. Well, it won't show through that bad anyways. So I'm just going to put a little stitch there to hold that down, and then I'll probably do it right over here too. And if you want to put one in the back too, I might do that. So what you just saw, I'm going to do it right here on the same side, and then I'm going to do it right here on the back. That way it holds the collar down and the collar won't flip up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera real quick. What I'm going to do now is, now this is completely optional, you don't have to do this. I have this ribbon here, the ribbon that I showed you in the beginning, and I'm going to weave it on the 6th row. If you count down one, I haven't got all this sewed up yet, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th row, and if you look at it, it's a little bit gappy from putting them puff stitches through there. So I'm going to weave a ribbon through there. So I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to follow this little dip down in the collar to about the center. So right about there, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's where I'm going to start it. And all I'm going to do, it's a little time consuming, is weave it though over and under every other stitch. And I'm going to do this all the way around. If you feel this ribbon is too big, you can get a smaller ribbon. But I'm going to do this over and under every stitch, all the way around here, all the way around the back, and then back over here until I get back to my starting point. Over and under, all the way around. And now I'm just going to tie a bow here to where it's kind of in the center of my collar there, the small part of the collar. I'm not the greatest at tying bows, but I do my best, which sometimes isn't very good. But I'll work on that a little bit better later. I know some people can just tie a bow like it's nothing and it looks so perfect. I really got to work on mine, and it still looks like crud half the time. More than half the time. Well, anyways, once you get your bow tied, you can cut your ribbon to the desired length if you want to leave it long or short. That's up to you. Leave mine a little bit longer hanging. Okay, and then if you want to add a ribbon rose, you can sew that on with a regular thread and needle. I'm not sure what color I'm going to use, but for tutorial purposes, I'll probably just hot glue mine on. It'll probably never ever come off because hot glue and yarn sticks together. But since you're going to be using this, if you're going to be using it for a baby, I'd probably recommend maybe sewing it on. But I mean, you can use your best judgment on that. But if you want to put it on, I'll be doing it right here underneath the short part of the collar. And then you use your thread and needle to sew on the hook and eye closure to the back. So I'm going to get my ribbon sewed on, my ribbon rose are put on and everything. My tail's hidden, I got my ribbon on, and I got my ribbon rows, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Maybe give this video a like and a share. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook too. I'll put a link to that below in the description box. And also check out my other tutorials. I have hundreds of them. And until next time, have a good day.